Out there. Thank you, everyone, for coming by and dropping through. In this video, I'm going to talk about something that's coming up pretty soon, in next couple of weeks or so. Right now, it's 2020. It's December 2020, and on December 21st, we're going to have what's called the Grand Conjunction. The Grand Conjunction is where the Earth, Jupiter, and Saturn are in a straight line. Earth, Jupiter, Saturn, they're in a straight line. And it's called the Grand Conjunction. And this happens about every 20 years. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what that means. Not for the world, not collectively. I'm not going to talk about it like that. I'm going to talk about it, what it means for each and every one of us specifically. And how it's expected to guide our lives and guide our destiny for the next 20 years. And in this video, I'm going to share information about how the conjunction has played parts in my life. I've lived through two conjunctions, and this will be my third one. This upcoming conjunction will be my third one. And I'm gonna share with you how it has played out in my life over the past two conjunctions and what's expected in the next one, the next upcoming conjunction on the 21st, 2020, December. And I'm going to end the video. The second half of the video, I'm going to go through each of the 12 houses and give you a very general explanation of what each house represents. If the conjunction falls in each one of the houses for you, it'll kind of tell you what to expect and how it's going to guide you on your life path. Now, I'd like for you to keep in mind that, I'm saying that I'm not predicting the future or anything like that. I'm not saying that, this is going to control you and just and have you just do things a certain way. No, it's not what I'm doing. What I'm explaining here or attempting to explain is how the energy moves and how it guides and how it influences. Just basically explaining how the influence works, how the energy works, so that you know how to work with it and how to use it to your best advantage. Because it's really good to know what's going on in the spirit world and the unseen. I love talking about stuff like that. And this is no different. It's kind of this is astrology basically. And I love looking into this too. So let's go. Let's talk about this. Now, where shall I start with this? Yes. Okay. All of the planets, they all represent a part of our lives or a part of our psyche, a part of our existence. And they all have different powers, different influences. For example, the sun and the moon. The moon kind of influences and represents the power within us and the guiding force within us that we have that guides us inside on a really intimate level. Now, the sun is the guiding force outside of us, our motivation and our expression of our full potential. So those two planets, the sun and the moon, two planets, they carry those types of influences and those types of power. Now, when you start talking about the next couple of planets, the Mercury, Venus, Mars, those planets, I guess you could say, they're kind of like your mind. Mercury is your mind, your mental process, and your heart, maybe your drive, the type of things affiliated with your heart. Venus, and your will, your desire, your aggression. Mars, and all of those three planets are very mental, very mental and very emotional, I guess. And that's what those three planets primarily deal with, those types of things. Now, when we get to Jupiter and Saturn, it becomes it kind of leaves the mind and the body and comes out in the real world as manifestation, and how things happen and manifest in our this reality, this dimension of reality. And with Jupiter, Jupiter and Saturn kind of work in a pair. They kind of keep one another in balance, like everything else keeps one another in balance. And what I mean by they keep one another in balance, like Jupiter is kind of like the type of energy influence that makes us really look at what's possible, the possibilities, and how great and how good things can be, and it really makes you, it really motivates you and helps you see things unrealistically to the point where you're really motivated, and you really look forward to making those things happen. And that's some really good energy. Everyone loves to feel this way. But Saturn on the other side, on the other end, it's about uh, discipline and reality checks and keeping that other energy in check. You can't be too optimistic, because if you're too optimistic, you won't really respect the process and focus and do all of the things that it takes to get things done. So Saturn is like the master. And when these two planets come together, they they set up a scenario and a situation where those two energies and those two worlds collide and come together, and really set up what's to come in the future. And I guess I'm talking about like goals, or the direction that you are planning and wanting to take your life, or the direction that the universe is guiding your life to take. So we know that these cycles last approximately 20 years. And what do these 20 years consist of? Well, it's a cycle, of course. And the first part of the cycle is the actual conjunction, which our next one is on the 21st of December, about 2 weeks from now. And it's basically the Earth, Jupiter, and Saturn in a straight line. That's the conjunction, and at that point, that's like a starting or a jump off point. It sets the energy strongly into motion. It's a new beginning. It's a spark, the spark to the flame. And Jupiter moves faster than Saturn, because Jupiter's closer to the sun, so it's a faster moving planet. So Jupiter during the conjunction is going to catch up to Saturn, but then it's going to pass. It's going to pass Saturn, and it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going, and then eventually Jupiter's going to be here, and Saturn's going to be here, and Earth is going to be here. And this is what's called a square. It's when two planets are at a 90-degree angle from the Earth. And at this time, whatever was initiated during the conjunction is going to strongly be put. It's going to strongly be put into action. I mean, it's already, the initiation already happened, but during the square is when all of the work really gets put in for whatever it is that's going on in your life. So that's the square. And then the square happens around 3 years after the conjunction. So this is like the first 5 years, because this is the first 5 years. First 5 years is gonna end in with like a square, and then next Jupiter's gonna be here. It's gonna be Jupiter, Earth, and then Saturn up here, and this is called an opposition, where they're going to be directly lined up again, but Jupiter and Saturn are going to be opposite sides of the Earth. And during this time, this happens around the middle of the cycle, around 10 years. And around this time, this is when like a really big push to complete what was started initially. It's going to be a really big push, and whatever's going on, then you're going to really get a big push from the universe to help you complete whatever it is that your destiny is pushing you toward. And then there's another square, because it goes in a circle. It went from the conjunction to the square to the opposition, and then it's completing the circle again. It's back around. Now there's another square, and at this point, this is like a winding down point. It's like a completion point, and at this point, you're probably gonna. It's a point where you could probably lose motivation for whatever it is you were doing, because the cycle is completing itself, and you're getting ready to start a new cycle. And right now, I guess for the past 5 years for me, I can really feel that energy strongly. Like my whole cycle, this whole cycle for me has been about education, which I'll talk about in a moment when I talk about my own personal experiences. If I haven't said it already, I'll say it again. In order to know where the conjunction, which house the conjunction will be for you specifically, you need to get a copy of your birth chart. And you can easily do this. You just go to like an astrology website. One of my favorites that I use often is tarot.com. And you just basically type in your information, and you can quickly get your birth chart in a couple of minutes. You let 1 minute actually. And once you get your birth chart, just look for the first degree of Aquarius, and whichever house the first degree of Aquarius is for you, that's the house that the conjunction will fall in for you, and that's the direction, the energy, the primary energy that will be very prevalent in your life for the next 20 years. So, with that said, now I'm going to talk about myself and my own life and the past two conjunctions in my own life. And I'll also talk about this upcoming conjunction on December 21st of 2020 and what's in store for me. Now, the first conjunction that I was a part of was pretty close to my born day, and it it fell in Libra, and in 1980, the there was the grand conjunction in Libra, and Libra is about one-on-one relationships of any kind, business, whether it be romantic, and it's about peace, and it's about equality and a lot of other things. But that's not the primary focus here. What's most important here for now is where Libra is on your birth chart, which house it's in. And for me, it was in my eighth house. And around that time, that was like the beginning of my life. For the in the eighth house, what does the eighth house represent? What does it mean? Well, in general, I'll go into more detail about the eighth house later when I talk about all 12 of the houses. But the eighth house, in general, it's about death. It's about taboo things. The it's about it's about sex, marriage, things like this. Kind of the really tough stuff in life, the stuff that is quite behind the scenes, the tough things we have to deal with in our lives. The ugly things, but they have to be acknowledged. And I don't remember that part of my life well enough to really to really lay things out and say this happened because of this. But one major thing that happened in the first decade of my life was that I lost my first two caregivers, and that's the main. Those are the main incidences that I could think of for me in my life, and I don't really fully understand yet, like the purpose of that and how it was supposed to lead me to the next stage. But that's what happened, and that's what happened, and I'm still, learning about myself. Now, the next grand conjunction that was in my life was around the year 2000. And in the year 2000, there was a grand conjunction in the sign of Taurus. And for me, the grand conjunction fell in my third house. And again, I'll talk about the houses later. But the third house is tied to like education and really learning about your environments, learning details, and just gathering information, that type of thing. And for me, for like the first decade of 2000 to 2010, I spent pretty much all of that time in some type of school or another, whether it be technical school, um, different colleges. It was a very education focused time in my life. Doing a lot of other things too, but education was the primary theme of my life then. And that was the whole. That was, I guess, that was the purpose and the direction that the energy was taking me in my life at that point. And even now, we're still we're wrapping this one up right now, and we're about to approach a new conjunction, which for me now is in my 12th house. I'm a Pisces, so uh, this grand conjunction is on the first degree of Aquarius, and that's in my 12th house. And in general, 12th house is about it's about endings. It's about wrapping big cycles up. It's about the occult. It's about mysticism. It's about the deep subconscious. It's about it's about the part of life that no one really sees, or they can't really uh, they don't know how to acknowledge it really. And if you've been watching me, if you've been keeping up with me, and you look at my past videos, it kind of makes sense now. I guess that's what this channel was kind of leading up to. I started this channel about 3 years ago, and this cycle is closing out for me, and we're about to approach this new cycle. And I guess that this channel kind of foreshadowed for me what was to come. So that's what I have to look forward to. And I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm ready to tackle it. If that energy is in my favor, I'm still, pursuing my own things that drive me and keep me happy. But this is the energy that's coming up for me, and I look forward to it. I have no choice really. And yeah, so that's me and how it has happened for me in my life in a nutshell. Now I'm going to talk about each of the 12 houses and what to expect for each one of us for first, second, third, all the way around to the 12th house. So here we go. Okay, so the first house, if the conjunction falls in your first house, your primary focus will be on, it'll be kind of like a complete makeover, being more respected, really like changing your image and changing your drive and your motivation about how you go about things, and how you're seen in society or in your world or whatever that is. It's kind of like a makeover, and like a really refocus of your energy for whatever reason in your life. And the second house, if the great conjunction is in your second house, the focus will be on money and financial stability, and uh, really setting up your life to where you're making sure that you're taken care of financially, and making sure that your life is really stable when it comes to finances and things that make you feel safe and comfortable. And if the conjunction falls in your third house, then your motivation and the energy will lean toward uh, higher education and learning some new things and new skills that will lead to you making more money or getting more recognition or whatever you're striving to get in your future. Now, if it falls in your fourth house, then the energy will focus more toward your home, making your home more of a home. And that could be maybe you're putting more effort into your business so that you can make money to support your home. But it is the energy for if it's your fourth house, it'll be surrounded by things associated with your home life, making your home life more sturdy, more happy, and more of a home for you. And if the grand conjunction falls in your fifth house, then the energy will be focused on if you have children. It'll be towards your children, making their lives better and making their lives happier and things like this. Or it could be focused on your own creative hobbies and things that make you feel happy and proud. Maybe you have maybe you'll really start focusing on some hobby that you have and really putting a lot of energy and effort into it, and maybe taking your hobby to the next level, or making it bigger than it is, and maybe you'll get a lot more serious about it. Now, if the conjunction falls in your sixth house, then the energy and your focus will be more towards things like your health and your day-to-day routines and vocational training, job training, or if you're a boss, maybe you'll start focusing on getting your workers trained and better equipped to do their jobs. And if the conjunction falls in your seventh house, then the energy and the focus will be toward things like your one-on-one relationships. Like maybe you might decide to get really serious and get married or something like this, or you really get serious with your boyfriend or girlfriend, your significant other, or the partnerships. You may get real serious about work partnerships or any type of really important partnership in your life. Maybe you'll really pursue or acquire some really strong business partnerships, or partnerships that really important one-on-one relationships of any kind, whether they be romantic, business, or leisurely. Now, if the conjunction is in your eighth house, the energy will be focused on things uh, like the intricacies of like a marriage, like fixing the financial things in a marriage, or if you have a joint business venture, really focusing on the money for that, and getting loans and things like this. And it could also be in a marriage, or a deeper union within a marriage or a relationship when it comes to things like sex, and just really much greater intimacy, really coming together with someone, where it could be romantically, it could be business. It's about a really deep fusion and connection, really joining your lives together in a really intimate way. Now, if the energy falls in your ninth house, then the conjunction falls in your ninth house, then the energy will be focused on things like that help you see the bigger picture of life, like world travel, or you may be traveling more, or higher education, uh, publishing. Maybe you're gonna write a book or something like this. Things that basically give you like heavy exposure to greater, bigger ideas in life. So travel, education are main themes, and when it comes to this, so something of that nature, or even paying for school or paying for travel. Now, if the conjunction falls in your 10th house, then the focus will be more on reputation, maybe getting more responsibility in your job, becoming more powerful in your career, or you may become a more important figure in society, or whatever you are a part of in the bigger scheme of life and your life. Now, if the conjunction is in your 11th house, then the energy and focus will be on things like being a part of something that's bigger than you, being a part of some group or something like this. Maybe you'll become more politically and socially conscious, and maybe you'll become some type of philanthropist, or a person that it tries to take care and look out for maybe the lesser privileged, or the people that can't really look out for themselves, but it's primarily becoming a part of something that's bigger than just yourself. Now, if the conjunction happens in your 12th house, and it's happening in my 12th house, uh, then the energy and the focus will be toward things like the occult, mysticism, spirituality. You may become maybe a monk, or someone who dedicates their life to helping people. Uh, Something when I said occult, astrology, esoteric disciplines, basically transcending the everyday mundane human experience. That's the 12th house, and if the conjunction is in your 12th house. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed my video, and thank you for watching it all the way through to the end. If you liked it, please click the like button to help me get more people to interact with, so I can learn more from them, and hopefully I contribute something uh, to them as well. And hope to see you around in the future. More to come. I don't just do astrology. I talk about pretty much anything that's related to. Uh, I like occult stuff. I like nature. I talk about nature. Deeper parts of nature, the parts of nature that people don't really think about and talk about, kind of the behind the scenes stuff. And spirituality. I like to talk about spirituality in general, from many different directions. No specific spiritual point of reference. I like to look at it all as much as I can. So check me out. Thank you so much for coming through, and I love y'all out there, and y'all take care. Make the most of this grand conjunction. It's going to be really cool. See you.